There we go. Okay. First and foremost today, guys, I do not consider myself a preacher in any way, shape, or form. But Taylor asked me to bring a message, so I'm here with a message. And I guess, it's hard to admit it, but the message is more for me than it is for you. It was selfish, I apologize, but as I was putting it together, I've been thinking about it for a week, and I thought, you forget this every day. But I remember when I understood the message. I remember when I understood the message that I'm going to give you today. And it was a steamroller. And it rolled all over me. And I don't know if it'll roll on you today, but I would ask you to open your heart and allow it to penetrate whatever's there. I would ask you to keep it in mind. I'm going to give you a little homework on this sermon today. It's not a sermon, this is a message. I'm not a preacher, so I can't give a sermon. This is just a message from a guy that needs to hear it. I had a joke with Pam. She asked me what my scriptures were, and I told her the book of Ecclesiastes, and she said, "Really? Like the whole thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you didn't get the memo?" We were all supposed to read Ecclesiastes before we showed up today. She said, "Man, what are we going to do?" I said, "I don't know. I guess we'll just have to stay till we're done." She said, "I'll pack a lunch." I said, "That would be a good idea. And I may have to call in pizza." No, I'm kidding. It won't be that long. I won't go that long. But, and I'll tell you, I wrote 3 pages of notes last night. I seriously doubt, 4, sorry. I wrote 4. I seriously doubt that I'll get through all 4 of them. But the text is from Ecclesiastes, and it starts with Ecclesiastes 1, verse 1 through 18. That's a lot of reading. So let me sum it up for you real quick. Before we go on, I want to say, when you get through today, my goal is that you can read Ecclesiastes and you can have this key, it's like a cheat sheet in your mind that will help you understand what Ecclesiastes means. When I first read Ecclesiastes, I thought, golly, it really made me depressed. But if you can look at it just a little bit differently and keep something in your mind about this book and what it means to us as believers, it can be pretty motivating. And so my hope is that when you leave here today, you can go and read Ecclesiastes at your leisure and get something out of it, something more out of it than what I got out of it the first 15 times I read it, because I never understood it. Now, I fear that there are things like that in our Bible, a lot more than just Ecclesiastes. I fear that there are a lot of things we don't understand. And it's hard to get that understanding. You got to chase after it. You have to work for it. And I'm not good at it, so I depend on other people to give me that. And so what I'm talking to you about today from Ecclesiastes actually comes from a book that I read called Living on the Ragged Edge. And it's written by a guy named Charles Swindoll, who's a very prolific Christian author. He's written a lot of good books. But this particular one, I picked it up and read it, and I was going through a tough time in my life when I read the book, and this just had an impact on me. And basically this book, Living on the Ragged Edge, details what King Solomon's talking about in Ecclesiastes. So, King Solomon was, and still is, touted as the greatest king ever of Jerusalem. And they say that at one time he probably had something like 75 or 80% of the world's gold and silver in his possession, his treasury. He built the temple in Jerusalem, which was a monumental task. And from what we know of it, probably one of the greatest building projects ever in biblical history. So also King Solomon, if you'll remember, was the king who, you remember that the two ladies came into the court and they had one baby between them and they both claimed the baby. King Solomon said, I'll tell you what, let's just cut the baby in half and each of you can have half of it. And the true mother said, oh, no. You take him, it's fine. You keep the baby. I'll be fine. And so Solomon knew, and he said, you know what, that's her child. The one that wanted to protect the child, that's her child. So he gave her the baby. King Solomon is talked about and known in history as the wisest king ever. And or one of the wisest men in the Bible. And certainly the greatest king in the history of Jerusalem. So, knowing that, it makes the opening lines of the book pretty difficult to understand, because you think, this guy was so successful and he had everything. He had the opportunity to do anything he wanted to do, and he did a lot of great things, but he also dabbled in everything that was not good in this world. He had the money and the time and the power, and he had the ability to sample everything. And what we find out is that he didn't just sample it a little bit. He didn't just do it till his fingers burned. He did it all the way, everything that he tried. And he starts out by saying that everything is meaningless. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What does man gain from all this labor in which he toils under the sun, which means on earth? Under the sun means on earth. So basically what he's saying is that it doesn't matter what you do, none of it means anything. Nobody's going to remember you. No matter how great you are, how wise you were, how good you were, or for that matter, how bad you were, nobody's going to remember you. Nobody cares what you're doing. You don't even care what you're doing, because it doesn't mean anything to you. You cannot find pleasure, you cannot find satisfaction in the things that you do on this earth. And, you know, for a common, ordinary person, I think, to myself, I think, that's pretty depressing. Because I do find some pleasure in things of this, in some things of this earth. You know, to me, there's nothing that smells better than a fresh cut hay meadow. Amen. You know, and when it's yours, thank you, Lord. When it's yours, it smells even better. You know, I love a steak more than anything. I could live the rest of my life on steak and refried beans. I really could. And I'm good with that, you know. Fine. If that's torture, I want it. But Solomon says none of this should make you happy. At least in the opening lines, he says this. And so it's confusing, and you think, but I know there's some good things in this world. I know there's some things that I enjoy. I know there's some things that give me satisfaction. But then you read on and you find out that this guy, he dabbled in everything. I mean, he went as deep as you could go into every scenario that we can think of in life. Now, this is the crazy part. He had a lot of wives and concubines, so I don't really get that one, because I'm a one-woman man, you know. Promise you I am. Amen. But how could he put up with hundreds of wives and that many concubines? I guess when you're the king, you don't have to really listen to them. I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not a king. But anyway, so and this really should be kind of the last statement that I make about. I'm trying to paint this picture for you that he had an opportunity to, and he had the wherewithal and the means to do anything he wanted to do, as much of anything he wanted to do. Rulers from other countries came and sought his wisdom in Jerusalem because he was so wise. And he had all the money that you could ever need. And yet he has this idea that everything is meaningless and it's chasing after the wind. But as you read on through the book, you'll find out that what he means is everything is meaningless unless you live a God-centered life. And if God is involved in it and you're living in his will, then all these things do have value again. And they are meaningful and they can fulfill you, but they don't fulfill you because they fulfill you. They fulfill you because God allowed them to fulfill you.
Amen.
He blessed us with that fulfillment if we're living in his will. It's difficult for me to grasp that sometimes. You know, I forget this every day. And I think, how could you forget? You know, how could you forget that God's really in control? And how could you forget that he chooses whether the hay meadow smells good to you? How could you forget that? And yet I do. You know, the preacher told me one time that God controls the purse strings. We all think, I do anyway. When I have more bills to pay than I got a paycheck, I think, man, if I just had a little bit better job, if I had a few more horses to shoe, if I had this, if I had that, you know. But really and truly, the Lord is involved in every aspect of our life. And you can glean some of that from this book. Everybody likes to talk about themselves, you know, but, you know, think about it. You go to get your hair done at the hairdresser, the best hairdressers you know are the ones that ask you questions and get you talking about yourself. And when you leave there, you go, my God, I told him everything I know about me. What was I thinking? I told him stuff I ought not told him. But that's because human nature is that we enjoy talking about ourselves. What we don't enjoy is talking about our sins and our shortcomings and our failures. Nobody wants to talk about those. And I'm right there with you. Again, this message is for me. I don't want to talk about those things, but I can promise you pretty much anything that you're experiencing, me and probably the rest of the people in this congregation have experienced. I'm ashamed of my sins. I don't want to talk about them. King Solomon told us about his to help us not have to go down that road again. If you'll look at Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 22, and I'll summarize that one again for you too. I actually am going to hit the high point, but I'll just say, man, you know, take this home with you and read it. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1 through 22. And I'm going to pick up at verse 2. It says, there's a time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. A time to embrace. A time to refrain. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What does the worker gain from his toil? Then he goes on to say that I know it's good for man to be happy with his work. Men should be happy with what they do. You should get pleasure and happiness from what your hands do all day. See, I think God hardwired us to be productive. I think it's why a lot of people are miserable in this world today, because they're not productive. And so that's where part of the problems arise. We can all be productive. I told you earlier, everybody in here was made by the Lord God with a plan. So you have the ability to be productive. I don't know what that is, but you have the ability. We all do. And I think we should keep that in mind. This chapter goes on to talk about a little bit about that it's good to enjoy our work and to enjoy our food and enjoy our drink. But only if we, it's fleshed out that the only way you get to do that is if it's a blessing from God and you view it that way.
That's right.
Right? Otherwise, it doesn't taste so good. That hate metal we were talking about, nothing tastes better than a really cold beer at the end of loading your trailer with hay and that hay metal. I'm serious. But you know what? God made that. He made everything.
Everything.
He might have put the knowledge in a man's head or the idea in a man's head of how to make that, but if it exists in this world, God made it. Now, if it's bad, the devil has found a way to adulterate it, right?
Right.
But nonetheless, even Paul says, eat whatever. If it's made by the Lord, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Eat it, drink it, enjoy it. But know that it's a blessing from God. Don't have the attitude of, I deserve this. Because it doesn't taste so good anymore. I want to go to chapter 4 for just a second, and I want to read you what it says in chapter 4, verses 4 through 6. Solomon says, and I saw that all labor and all achievement spring from man's envy of his neighbor. This too is meaningless, chasing after the wind. The fool folds his hands and ruins himself. Better one handful with tranquility than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. I'm not a Bible scholar, but I believe that if we view everything we have and everything that we get as a blessing from God, and if we are getting those things within God's will and within His plan for our lives, that one handful is all we need. You'll be satisfied with one handful or a dump truck load. It don't matter. It's whatever He gives you. But if you view it all as a blessing, even down to a handful, then it's all you need. Let me read one more. Same chapter, verse 9 through 12. It says, two are better than one because they have a good return for their work. He goes on to say, if one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. And I love this one. A cord of 3 strands is not easy to break. I'm not speaking for you, but I'm speaking for me. I want to be part of your cord.
Yeah. Because
one day, I'll be alone in this world. You'll be alone in this world. But we don't have to be alone in this world. My family will die. My mother will die. I'll have no family left. I'll have you.
Amen.
Whether you feel this way about me or not, I'm telling you that I'm in. I'm on your team. And I hope you'll hold me to that. I mean it. Today my life changes a little bit. Because in my mind I've always thought, I wonder if he's on my team. I wonder if she's on my team. But I choose to go away from that thought process. Now my thought process is, I'm on your team. If you want me there, I'm on your team. And here's something else I'll tell you. I think maybe God feels the same way.
That's right.
I think maybe he says, I'm on your team. If you want me, call me. If you don't, find your own way. So if you're finding your own way and you're not happy in it, maybe we ought to think about that. What's going on? Why do I think he's not on my team? It's not that. It's that you're not letting him be on your team. You're not calling him and asking him to come help me.
That's right.
He will. And I will. Okay. Here's the key for understanding Ecclesiastes. Boy, I'm getting close on time. Do you guys... Does anybody here not believe that God made them? I mean, does everybody believe that God actually made you? That He knew you in the womb before you were born, and He had a plan for you before you entered this world? If you do, then this next thing is not a stretch. So if you believe that God made you, and He made you with a purpose and a plan, it's not hard to believe that maybe He left a little something out. Not much, just a little bit. He just left a little space in your soul. He left a little something out. Listen to me. Track with me here. It's easy to get. We spend our lives trying to fill up that gap. But nothing in this world will fill it. Nothing. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter how many girlfriends you've got. Doesn't matter how many cows you have. Doesn't matter how many buckles you win. Doesn't matter how many hit songs you got. Nothing will fill that. It's called the God-shaped gap, and He left it in you so that you would allow Him to fill it.
That's right.
And if you let Him fill that gap, then everything else is meaningless. But not meaningless in a bad way, meaningless in a good way. Because you have an overpowering sense of comfort and joy that says, because Jesus is filling this gap in me, it doesn't matter what happens to me here because I know where I'm going.
Amen.
And nobody can take that away from you.
Nope.
When the gap gets filled, it's there.
Hey, that's right.
Nobody can come unplug it. It's yours and mine. That made me feel good when I figured that out. Right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel very good at the time when I figured it out, but I felt good afterwards. And I feel good today. I feel good because I'm remembering it, because I'm telling you about it, but it's really telling me about it. I'm really telling me about it. I'm telling me, Chad, don't forget it tomorrow.
Right.
Don't forget it tomorrow when you have a flat tire.
Right.
Don't forget it tomorrow when you're sweating. Don't forget that God has that gap. He's filled up that gap. And it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if you can't pay your bills. It doesn't matter. If you're going to heaven, It's winning the freaking lottery.
That's it. Yeah.
I may live here for 75 years at the most, but I'm going to live in eternity for the next 99 million years. I personally choose to live in heaven for eternity. And you guys have the same choice. Everybody has that choice. Free will. And it's a gift that was given. It was a gift that was given so selflessly, so without strings attached, that it's hard for us to sometimes comprehend that. I was telling my friends in the band, I said, if TJ gives me a gift this year for Christmas, which I know she's going to, and I don't give her one, I'm going to feel bad about that. Like if I didn't know now I know she's going to, but if I didn't know, I would feel bad about it, And I would think next Christmas, golly, I'm getting her something. Well, she may not get me something next Christmas because I didn't give her anything last Christmas. But the point is that this gift, all gifts that we get today, we're human, and at least for me, I feel like there's something attached to that. If you give me something, it's maybe you want something back from me. Maybe you just really like me. Maybe you want me to like you more. Whatever it is, I always feel like there's some kind of attached. Not in a negative way, but just that there's always something attached. And so, consequently, it's hard for us to grasp that God gave us this gift and didn't ask for anything in return except to trust and believe that He sent Jesus to die on the cross for us so that we can spend eternity in heaven with Him. Man, that's kind of, talk about thinking outside the box. That's outside of the world. It's hard to get your mind around it, but it is the truth. And the Lord is good for His promises. He keeps His promises. He promises that. Okay, so I didn't have to read Jeremiah because you all guys all believed it. But you know what? There was one more I was going to read to you. Oh, I hope I can find it. It was a good one. There it is. No, not yet. Bear with me, folks. I'm new to this. Barbara, do you know what I did? Kidding. Romans. Here we go. Romans 10, 9 through 13.
Amen.
If anybody if you got a Bible, please go there with me. We try as humans to explain salvation, and we can't do it. And we cannot help someone get to the point where they understand it by our words. If somebody does understand it, it's because of divine intervention. But if you want to be saved, if you're not saved and you want to be saved, Romans 10:9 tells you exactly how to do it. It says, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, you'll be saved.
Amen.
Really, that's all there is to it?
That's it.
There's not much there, is there? It's so much easier said than done, though. Like so many things in this life, it's so much easier said than done. But that's really all there is to it. To believe in your heart that Jesus died for your sin and the Lord raised Him back up and ascended to heaven and He's coming back. He's coming back to this. Can I read you just one quick thing that I wrote down? Kind of hit me last night. If you ever think, is there a God? What happens to me after I die? If you ever have those thoughts, my personal belief is that that's God talking to you. He tests us so that we can learn to live in awe of Him. And if you go through this life without living in awe of God, you've missed one of the greatest parts of being alive in this world.
Yeah.
Because He is an awesome God. And He does have an impact on everyday little things in our lives. It's hard for me to live every day in awe of God. I forget it. But when I come back to it, I'm like, oh, God, thank you. Thank you for that peace that I now feel again, because I'm living in awe of You, and I know that You are in control and You have a plan, and that I'm going to be okay regardless of what happens to me here in this world. Man, that's great, huh? Nothing better. My mom always talked about the peace that passes all understanding. That's where it comes from, right there. That's it. So, if you're thinking some of those thoughts, don't wait. Don't hesitate. Do something about it right now. I'm a terrible procrastinator. I'll do it tomorrow. But don't let this be one of those things you procrastinate about. If you don't have Jesus in your life today, He's knocking on the door, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you want to hear it or not. You can turn your hearing aids off. You can put mattresses over the door, but I'm telling you, if you'll just open up, He'll come in. And He will change you in a way that you had no idea you could be changed. And it doesn't matter what you've done or where you've been. He's knocking on your door. Okay. I'm going to conclude with this. Read Ecclesiastes, but read it with the mindset of, yes, but if you're living in God's will and God is involved in your life, then it turns the table back on everything that He says in there. Because then things do begin to have meaning when you live in God's will. That's the first take-home point. The second one is claim what's yours. Salvation is yours today if you want it. I've been in church since I was a teeny tiny little kid. I lived 2 blocks from my church. My preacher lived 2 houses down from me. I went to the first 7 years of school in my church. So I was there 5 days a week. Sorry, I was there 6 days a week. Twice on Wednesday and twice on Sunday. In the same place. Spent a lot of time in church. But I promise you, I didn't get this. I got saved at a revival when I was about 6 years old. I didn't get it. At 39 years old, I had an encounter with Jesus Christ. Amen. And it was not fun. It wrecked me. It broke me into powdery little pieces. And I'm so thankful. And I want every one of you to have that encounter with Jesus, because I'm telling you, it's a different world afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's out there for you. Just look for it. The third take-home, I guess, is this. I set it up front. Tater asked me to bring a message. So I brought a message. And I told it to you guys. But it really was for me more than anything. I'm glad you have heard it again. Even though it had to come from me. I'm glad you have heard it. I hope that when I leave here today, I remember it and I do something with it. So something that has an impact on somebody else's life and on my life. And I hope that if just one more person is with us in heaven, you know, it doesn't matter what I have to go through. I didn't want to do this. I'm scared to do it. I can sing, but I get to hide behind my guitar, you know. I have to get up here and talk. It's difficult. Plus, I was figuring Lester would call me out about something too. But I didn't say it. I appreciate that. I'm embarrassed a lot. You know what? It's time to go home. It's time to go eat lunch. So I'm going to close. And Barbara, will you come up here and hold my hand while we pray? Lord, your word says, where two or more gather in your name, if there you are, there you'll be also. And Lord, I believe that you are here today. And I just ask, Lord, that you would bless this time that we had, Lord, and that somebody would, even if they just got one new thought out of it, Lord, that you would use that to further your kingdom. I pray, God, that you'd give us all journey mercies going home. I pray, Lord, that if anybody wanted to say that prayer, that sinner's prayer, Lord, that you would hear it and that you would touch their lives and change them. Father, I thank you for your blessings. Thank you that you pierced me with these things that I tried to tell other people about today, Lord, that you would help me to go forth and do something with it, Lord. I thank you for this church. I pray, Lord, that you would keep Taylor and John and all their families safe, Lord, that you give us all journey mercies as we go out here today. And I pray that you would help us to remember that everything that's good in this world, Lord, that you created. I pray these things in the name of Jesus. I pray them through his blood with faith that you hear. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate you. Have a good day.